All right, toy fans. I'm here with a. This was something I got a while back. Actually, here's the surprising portion of this. Okay, I got this years ago as a birthday gift. One of my good friends, Matthew Salick, he had gotten this and the Wind Raider for me from the Mega Construx Masters of the Universe stuff. Okay, well, this particular set, I've had it. Well, let me rephrase that. I got it this year around my birthday, and I had built the Wind Raider. It was already pre-built, and then it was all taken apart, and I took it apart, rebuilt it. I think I might have made a video on it. It's a solid set. I love it. I have that, the Battle Ram, which is amazing. I've got another one of the skulls, which is kind of like a neon green Skeletor head, and they don't really have numbers, so they're like skeleton or Skeletor skull, which is what this is, in gold, green, regular. There's like a slime colored, etc. Well, we've looked at Trapjaw, and I've opened up all the minifigs that I had, and they're really cool minifigs. As a matter of fact, I'm actually looking at getting another set of the Mega Construx Master Universe stuff before it goes away, because the He-Man movie's out, or it will be out this summer. I have a feeling that the whole family, we're going to go watch it. That's something that was very big for my kids' childhood. It was a very big thing for my childhood. So I think it's time to open this and start looking at a couple of the other sets that I'm wanting to get, right? So with this, we get a packaging, and it's all set into this skull. So the whole thing is plastic. You get a base plate here. You get, studs on top in order for it to connect with things. And this is Mattel Bricks. This is their in-house building blocks company. And you get, everything's kind of just plugged in like this, so it's not meant to come out. You get a nice display here of what it can do. You get, of course, a He-Man, Jet Sled, and etc. Now, I don't have the Jet Sled. I think out of the vintage toys, I would say the vintage toys I have, I think it's the oh my goodness, the Stilt Stalkers is what I have. I did not bring. Here we go. I brought a knife with me. Okay, so we're going to open this now. Unfortunately, they don't make this packaging where it's actually very salvageable after you're done with it. Kind of all comes apart, but the skull itself will last, and the skull is kind of the thing we want. They do their plastic-free packaging, but still, man, their twine that they do is something else. Ooh, it's a paper-type twine. My goodness, that thing is hard to get off. So we'll recycle that. And we'll pop this off over here. Come in here. We'll pop this thing out. Oh my goodness. And then we'll take this out as well. And that gets recycled. Boom. See you later. Put that thing away. Goodbye. And we'll start looking at all of our stuff. Now, on the inside, you get, of course, this skull here. I thought about doing like maybe some silicone tech prints or something in there, pressing that for skulls for cosplay stuff, because I mean there's really good stuff that we could do with that. It's not too bad, but it is hard, so it's gonna make making molds of this stuff kind of tough. But you could also like mold the outside and do it that way. But pretty cool. They make it to where you've got anti-studs on the bottom here and here, so if you want to put some bricks across there, you can, or snap that to there. I believe you can do that, kind of. Some of this gets in the way and hinders a few things here and there, but all in all, they meant for this, and all of this to kind of play together. Now, with our Mega Construction books, we do get just one big old book here. It's got all of our stuff. It says that we've got a He-Man sword that's going to be going inside. And then we've got some plates and stuff and things that attach, some rocks, etc. We get our He-Man, our parts list, other things in the line. If we've looked at this one, this is one that I'm the climber. I'm actually looking at getting at some point. It does store the jet sled on He-Man's back, which is cool. Kind of harkening back to that vintage thing. And then we get our directions on how to put the jet sled together. So pretty cool stuff. Nothing too crazy, all in all. It's actually surprisingly a pretty good brand. Now, I know that there have been arguments. Some people do not like the Mega Construx brands. They don't like the minifigs. I like them, but I can be an apologist for all sorts of minifigs. But for me, would I put this in my Lego City? No. Would I make a playset area for Eternia? Totally. And I think that's kind of where it's at. I do separate like my Mega Construx and my Mega Brands, my Mega Brand stuff that's more kid friendly. That goes with my city stuff of Lego, Luma Bricks, Lubon, etc. My, I think it's like Kwangjong Industries. It does like the knockoff, like Mega Construx types of characters that super posable. Oh man, it's like super posable minifigs, and they're mostly military. All that I kind of keep in a separate bucket, and I had like a Predator figure I just gave to my buddy Masalis. And yeah, there's some things I just keep. This world of minifigs I keep separate from the other world of minifigs. Halo, Call of Duty, Masters Universe, and then the other generic military minifigs that I have, they do not stay together. That's just the way that is. Nothing wrong with it, just they don't fit all in all with their styles. Okay, so we got He-Man. He has his blue armor. Now, the blue armor, again, is harking back to that breastplate that you got that hooked onto the jet sled. They're using the rubberized He-Man armor that he's always had with all the figures, but what they're doing differently is they made it blue. They put the red cross on it, make it stand out. So instead of creating a whole body armor piece that's brand new, they're reusing what they have. I'm fine with that. Like I said, Jet Sled is not so iconic that like you had to have it no matter what. They never did the Stilt Stalker. That's one thing that was like, that could have been kind of cool. I have this Stilt Stalker. It's one of those that I do like and enjoy. But they did not. They did not make it. All right. At least I'm aware of. Other things in the line, of course, they've done Snake Mountain. They've done Castle Grayskull. They've done Point Dread, which I'm actually looking at getting here pretty soon. I kind of overspent on some blocks, so I'm going to have to wait just a little bit. But I have a feeling I'll be getting Point Dread and possibly the Roton. That one comes with Merman, and I believe a Battle Armor He-Man, which is one of my favorite He-Man action figures. Sadly, I had one that broke, and I ended up taking them apart for customizing. I got another one years later, and my kid was really, he kind of got into He-Man. And the Origins, they did not have a Battle Armor He-Man yet. And so he really wanted Battle Armor He-Man. And I ended up giving him mine. Of course, that was the same year that we also, I built the Castle Grayskull. So I got a shell of a Castle Grayskull. And keep in mind, this all has to be kind of on an affordable level. So it's like, what can you do sort of thing, right? Because Castle Grayskull, I mean, it's iconic, but man, it can get expensive. Well, what happened? I'm going to move this. I'm gonna mosey this up just a little bit here, so we can look down on it just a little bit more. That might make things a little bit better. And we'll kind of go out. There we go. So that particular winter, I remember I was in the garage and I had to hide the fact that I was doing this. And he was very much like, he was really wanting to be everywhere where you were, and, you know, kind of, you know, what you doing, daddy? And I was, at the time, I was traveling for work. I was going, oh man, I was going miles. I was going from Denton to Arlington, Texas, which is about an hour or so. So every day I was traveling a very long distance to get to work. And so I was exhausted at that point. I was in my first year teaching as a, can't remember if that was my first year teaching or if that was my first year teaching under certification. I can't remember. But anyways, how the story goes is kind of like this. So I would stay up late every night setting glue. I'd set glue. I would set, you know, glue, and I built a whole base for it because this thing was rickety. It was falling apart. You know, I got this shell off of Facebook Marketplace out of everything. The only place I could find it was dirt cheap. Well, I say dirt cheap. It was still $30 for the shell, but it was just a shell. I think had like it had the 2 floors, but there was a lot missing. I had some things, like I had a chair and I had some other, you know, bits and bobs and pieces from when I was putting my original Castle Grayskull together. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this together for my kid. I think he would absolutely love this. I really want to make him happy, you know, and kind of help him get this. And this is before Origins came out and before, you know, Origins showed that they were going to have their whole Castle Grayskull and all that. Which if he'd have waited 1 year, or actually 2 years at that point, it would have been a little more cost effective. Well, so I stayed up building this thing night after night after night, and yeah, I spent so much time and effort creating this custom Castle Grayskull that felt like it was real, you know, for him, because I could not deliver a vintage Castle Grayskull to him that would have been perfect in the eyes of what you're thinking of as collectors. So he has a one-up Castle Grayskull, and so far he has not shown any interest in selling it, and I'm actually quite thankful, because to me that means that he does very much care about this particular, you know, toy that he had. I mean, it's a silly toy. It's no specific need in any of it, but it was definitely one of those that it meant a lot to me to see that even when he was downsizing stuff, his He-Man stuff he kept. So he hasn't shown any interest in going and seeing the movie, but my wife has already kind of stated that, yeah, when the movie hits theaters, we are going to be going and seeing it. It's, again, that's such a big part of my childhood, his childhood, and it just seems kind of a waste for us not to go and, you know, honor that and honor the He-Man thing. Am I concerned about it? A little bit, but I think it'll be entertaining and fun. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good time, all in all. I think it'll be a fun sort of movie. I don't think it'll be perfect. Actually, at this point, I'm actually not expecting perfect. With things that I have watched recently in Hollywood, I'm definitely not expecting anything perfect. But I do believe that it'll be a good time, and I have a feeling that it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be something cool to write home about, quote unquote. So, all right, here we go. We've got a fan. Now, they've got some unique pieces, and all the tiles here are printed. There's no stickers. which I'm actually very happy about. You know, they could have easily done a whole slew of stickers, and they did not. They kept it all nominal. It's all, um, you know, printed pieces, which is cool. We've got handles and all sorts of cool things that are being built here. And the way that they do, like their handles with the peg, where they shove it into those holes, pretty interesting build techniques. Good stuff. Not good stuff cheap, but good stuff. Now, I've never seen, like, I've always looked to see if I could find something like this at Ollie's, but I've never seen anything there. So we can lift that up, woo, and we can fly him around. Apparently, you can peg that to his back. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take off that. We're going to put He-Man on the jet sled here and here. We can go ahead and put his hands on there. The jet sled also reminds me a little bit of some of the flying machines from the 1989 movie, which I happen to be a huge fan of that movie. It's not the grandest movie at all. Like, it's not a good movie, but there are certain things of it that I love. There's certain things I quote. One of the things I tell my kids half the time is like, we don't say goodbye at the end of the year. I tell them we say good journey, and good journey it is. I know it seems kind of it's very ridiculous, very silly a thing to say, but there's some messaging and certain things in that movie that it inspires me. That makes me know that they created something that, even though it wasn't exact, it's still rather beloved. So, in my opinion, I'm pretty happy with that movie. Okay, so here we go. We've got looks like some rocks, some other things. I'm kind of looking here. There's some interesting designs here. So we've got one. This one I think is going to go right back over here. Boom. We got another one right here. This one's going to go right here, I believe. And then we got one more that's going to be going up here on the end. Another rock. Interesting looking rocks. I don't know how much I would build with that in any other situation. Not exactly, I think, like what I would think of as like the perfect rock. Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one. Now we do have this little peg here that's going to go in. Sorry, He-Man, we need our sword back, our power sword. And that's supposed to fit inside of Skeletor's head, just like that. Why? Don't know, but it's there. Either way, it's there. All right, we do get our spinner plates. I need to put in an order of these. I've got some things coming in that will actually be utilizing some spinner plates here pretty soon. But I shouldn't rush things because you know what? I got some stuff I got to do. Oh, look. I built it wrong. One thing about these directions. So I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, but then we've got this right here. They probably should have made that 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Just a difference of numbers. But man, that would have made the difference between my fingers getting all split up right there. All right, so we got 2 plates with pegs. We've got 2 by 2 plate, or tile, I should say. It's got no studs on it. We're going to plug these in, 1 and 2. We have one of these that's going to go right over here. One of these that's going to go on the other side. A little bit of a helicopter. So I guess it's going to go right up here on the top of Skeletor's head. Boop, 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 boop. And we got 1 extra peg. This thing, I think, is supposed to fit in the back of He-Man. Where did I see that? Yeah, it's right here. So that goes in the back of He-Man's back, right here, right to the armor. and that's what's going to plug the Jet Sled on there. It looks like they're going to go right here. That is a tight fit, to be quite honest. That is an uber tight fit. Now, because I have placed one there, I'm going to put this one right here. Ba-ba-da-bum, 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 bum-bum-bum. Sorry, I could do the He-Man, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, but I love that 1980 something movie score. Look at that! It's like wow, flies around him and his jet sled, and then you can take it off after the fact. I guess, yes. Take it off. Take him off. That folds down, and that can fit into his back. I guess in a way you can make that a jetpack. If you wanted to, you could make that a jetpack. He can hold on to that and fly around. So yeah, it's novel to say the least. It's one of those where, let's kind of break down. Let's talk about this. So, they still hold up to this day. If you are a He-Man fan, right up your alley. Definitely worth a while. If you're a He-Man fan, why are you even waiting? We shouldn't even be having this discussion. As a matter of fact, go down, hit that link in my bio. I believe I have this in my shop, and if I do, I'll put it down there for you so it's easy to find. If you get it from the shop, it helps out the channel. But here's the thing, like, I like He-Man. It's definitely one of those. It's kind of a 80s sort of franchise sort of thing, just because of the fact that we've got how do you put this? It is definitely an 80s franchise because of the whole Frazetta sort of wild fantasy sort of things. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense with some of the kids today, just because the idea of a guy running around a loincloth with a magical sword seems a little outdated. But for someone of my age and what I grew up with, it hits right home. This has such a nostalgic appeal to me, and still sits between that area of action figures and building blocks. And I know that there have been many toy lines that have tried this. This has been a successful one where we've got many tiny He-Mans and Mattel building blocks, and it works. In my opinion, it really works. Hasbro tried to do it at one point with G.I. Joe. I know Creo Bricks suffered, but we also had a whole line of G.I. Joe action figures that had, sets that built onto them. And I mean, that could have easily been a oh my goodness, what was the name of that? Centurions type of thing, where you've got pegs on them and you can build armor to go on them, etc. This should be, hey, Centurions. This would be a really good Mattel. This would be a really good time to pick up that Centurions license, appeal to guys my age, and build some action figures that have pegs on them to make whole Centurion armor. I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah, this has been a fun set. Hey, Matthew, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate this greatly. This and the Wind Raider are kingly gifts. I absolutely love it. I'll be looking for more stuff down the road. So far, Jeff getting me the Battle Ram has opened the door to a sickness. The sickness being I need more bricks for sure. But these are fun sets and definitely worth the time. All right, let's go through our normal things. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification down below so you can be alerted. Anything comes from me to you, comment down below. Definitely, I love chatting with you all. So seriously, anytime I see a chat, I'm like, woo, and I like to go and try to comment back as quick as I can. If I'm late a couple days or even a week, just hang in there. I'm trying to get back to you. Be sure to like this. It lets YouTube know that you're liking what I'm making. And yeah, just go and click some of those links in my link tree. It's in the bio. That stuff really helps out the channel a lot as well. And just keep watching. I appreciate it. Hey, I love you all. Jesus loves you more. Nothing you can do about it. Good luck with the build, and happy brick hunting.